former chair of MBA Ikeja branch. Thank you very much for coming on. Indeed, our pleasure. And Dr. John Kome. Dr. John Kome is a politician. He's a social commentator, and you know, he's a minister of God. Thank you very much for coming on as well, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah. Now, it's sort of evolving you know, on the program into a conversation of on restructuring. We started this from Monday, and we've always had some bit in there where we'll talk about it. Now, the reason we're returning to it now is that, well, Agbakoba SAN himself, a former president of the MBA, is a civil rights activist as well, and of course he's a lawyer. I said he was an SAN. Now he actually has a proposal that he thinks could, radically affect, if not remove, the problem of. I hope, well, that's the way I'm looking at it. Remove the problem of this whole call for restructuring. He is saying that he believes that there could be a devolution of powers, and that would largely mop up all the angst that seems to be ongoing that we have now. Some radical proposals. First of all, the exclusive list in the Constitution. He's proposing that there should be a federal, you probably have read all about it yourself, and indeed we should now have one for the states as well. He's also, suggesting, among other things, via this bill for an act that he has indeed pushed to the National Assembly alongside a letter to the Senate President, that we could even have state appeal courts, as well. So, okay, Dave, you spoke up there. It looks like, did that strike a particular chord? And first of all, could you explain, please, the state appeal courts provision? Because you hear of it in America.
Yes, yes. We've had it in Western state before. Okay. When there was no court of appeal at the federal level. Appeal goes from High Court straight to Supreme Court in those days. But the Western state government, in their wisdom, deem it fit that there must be an intermediary court of appeal. And they started the Western State Court of Appeal, WASCA, which produced the likes of Shaw, Aguda, Madarikon, and co. So, if you know what we go through as a court person, as a litigator, I know I have over 10 appeals pending at the Lagos Court of Appeal, Federal Court of Appeal in Lagos. You know the problem? They have only 8 justices to handle 61 judgment appeal from 61 judges of Lagos State High Court, about 20 from Lagos Division of Federal High Court, another 20 from National Industrial Court. These are not superhuman beings. And so then court martial too, they handle it. But if we have a state court of appeal, the state court of appeal will handle the matters. The major decisions are from the 61 state courts. So then there's nothing wrong if we have a federal Supreme Court and
because
this federal Supreme Court
should be the Supreme Court.
Exactly, but instead of state, I would rather support a zonal court of appeal, which will be made up of if we have Western Nigeria Court of Appeal, it will be made up of personalities from the 6 states in the it won't be that it's only APC that are in this place. It will go around. The decisions will be far-reaching instead of having Lagos Court of, and a lot of states will not even be able to afford state court of appeal because they don't have the resources Lagos have. Okay, so that's a limitation. Yes, but if we have a Western Court of Appeal, we have South Court of Appeal, Southeast Court of Appeal, then the appeal generated therefrom can now go to a particular wing, the same Supreme Court, a particular wing of Supreme Court that takes appeal from state courts, matters that emanated from the state courts. It will solve a lot of problems because even if we have 100 justices in the Supreme Court, they cannot handle it. U.S. has only 9. But since they have a state court of appeal, state Supreme Court, it has taken a lot of burden off them. So that is why they can manage only 8 Supreme Court justices.
You know, as Dave was speaking, Dr. Kome, it reminded me that there are quite a number of, aspects to this bill, for an act that is being sent in by Agbakoba, SAN. And he was even, part of it is that it should be written into the Constitution, the zones, as you well know, that we have, so that there would be the northwest zone, north, central, northeast, there will be southwest, south, and all those zones would be written in. So I can see possibilities in there between what Dave said and if, as he said, everybody is not able to actually, because of what is necessary, afford it. At least these are our initial thoughts about it. He was even seeking for those zones that we talk about but are not written down to actually now become part of the Constitution. What do you think of the idea? If you like, would you like to start on the whole question of state courts of appeal as well?
Well, I think, like the lawyer rightly said, you see, the job is in the first place too much for the Supreme Court, like he rightly said. And in our Constitution, the current Constitution we are using today, we have 6 political zones. So if those zones can be able to set up the appeal courts, I think it will make the job a little bit easier for the Supreme Court judges, as well also for the state.
All of this is, as one of my guests said, one of the friends of the House, Alhaji Abdulaziz Hassan, he had said, rather than this whole matter of restructuring, which this bill actually tends to address as well, he said it's all about good governance.
I think the bill is more of devolution of power than restructuring.
Thank you very much. That whole question, whatever you want to call it, it's called a number of things, including restructuring. Exactly, it's called all those things. But the legal luminary says that he believes that this effort could address all of those points. And as I was referring to our guest, Hassan, I think it was on Monday, he had said, among other things, that it's not so much about restructuring for him, and I take the point you made. It's more about good governance. That if there is good governance, then all the agitations for restructurings would sort of pale. Was his thinking.
But
so all of this is probably supposed to, indeed, help that good governance, perhaps.
I have a different opinion.
Okay.
You see, when we talk about good governance, we've been flogging this issue of good governance for how many years now, since the military left powers and the democratic experiment started. So I think that from what the Sandman is saying, we need to restructure first. It's not matter for us to have good governance. We need to restructure.
He just says the agitations that have number of names, including restructuring. He was anxious to avoid
the word restructure. You see, but that is the fact that we cannot. That's a dilemma that we must have to make sure we settle.
Yeah, because
it's a distinction without difference.
Okay, I think it's well placed with that kind of.
He said all these agitations that are called by that have various nomenclatures, including restructuring, could possibly be addressed by this bill that he's proposing. Well, that's on the one hand, because there are quite a number of issues. The other one that he sort of tackles on squarely in a letter, an accompanying letter that he sent to the Senate President, introductory to all of this, is the fact that, yes, federalism, we're aiming for it. Okay. In fact, right now we call ourselves the Federal Republic of Nigeria, but Lord knows what kind of federalism it really is. And so he was making the point that he even sent along a book, that he said, to the Senate President to help elucidate on the issue. What type of federalism? Apparently, there are all shades of federalism, like the color gray. Yeah. There's no one gray. Yeah. You have so many grays, and so he says that probably maybe I'm just guessing at that. That's probably why he wanted to distance himself from the term restructuring. Okay. But if it's about an efficient system, a much more efficient system, because it now goes on to the exclusive list, the exclusive legislative list. Now he's proposing the introduction of a state, you know, he wants the constitution amended such that at the relevant section, there would also now be included a state legislature list, and this would, states would be addressing things that have not been covered by the state. So it will be in agreement with the federal, but they would have a separate list. It will be defined what they can work on without recourse to the federal or the National Assembly. Is that the beginning of heading towards maybe having not just one constitution? I understand that in some jurisdictions you have a constitution for the country.
Well, it's not new in Nigeria. In the First Republic, there's a constitution of Western Nigeria, there's constitution of Northern Nigeria, constitution of the Eastern Nigeria. But everything is encompassed in one document, which the first layer is made up of Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And that was why the likes of AWU and Zik were able to achieve a lot of things, because it was then that you have Obafemi Awolowo University or University of Ife, UI. Amadu Bello was part of the commissioning of University of Ife. He now said, look for land in the north. We want that type of thing. Then the same
I would like to ask you, my lord, as at that time, were we operating a federal system or a regional system?
It depends on the nomenclature, but it's a federal, truly federal system where every region control their revenue. They only pay tax to the federal. Yes. So that is why
I think it's now the devolution that Agbakoba is talking about.
Well, it's not the same thing, but we've experimented with something better before.
Which I think we can still go back to.
We can still go back to. And the cost of governance back then is not as much as this, because in a parliamentary system of government, the ministers are also members of parliament. They can't collect double salary. But now, you now have minister that has assistant, special assistant, senior special assistant, without having really doing anything. But if we can go to that type of system, the one thing that we militate against reverting to the status quo is that we have too many states where people, which has constituted source of daily living for some politicians, that will not want to forfeit their hold on their state. Because if we have to do this, we have to make sure that Western region, for instance, the state will be like a sub-unit in the region. We will have somebody at the top.
Yes.
So that's the
Does the person at the top takes the function of the president or the
No. That will be the person that is heading the region. He is more or less the president of the region. This is the learned silk Agbakoba suggested. If there are lists, legislative lists, the exclusive belong to exclusively to the federal, while the concurrent federal
which is
and
now
state can legislate on it. But I believe that it is no use if some items can be moved from the exclusive, like communication, power,
police.
Because you see, when you get hold of the bill itself, you know, and it's a matter of public record, it's pretty comprehensive. It states these areas that would be dealt with by, you know, both of those lists. But just in a summary, in what was called an explanatory note to Agbakoba SAN's submission of the bill, it's a short paragraph. I can read it. He says the bill seeks to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 by the creation of the States Courts of Appeal, introduction of federal and states legislative list, and adjustments or modifications of legislative powers of government between the federal and the state governments as well as the recognition of 6 geopolitical zones.
Yes, but another thing one thing that is missing from that place, which is an element in any successful federal system, is the power of the counties or local government, which is not included
in this place.
In U.S., for instance, every county has its own police department, sheriff, they call them sheriff. So they are the people on the ground. They relate directly to the locals. They know what is wrong in their local government. So to now concentrate the powers on the federal and the state, we isolate a very tangible majority, vocal majority from the system, which are represented by the present. We are not having a local government system. What we have now is they take orders from the state. But in another place, you see Democrat controlling certain counties, while the governor is from Republican. Yes. So that is what we are looking at, that the local government should have some powers under this, and the election should be organized in such a way that it will not be the way we have it now. So the submission of the learned Sikh has isolated the important part of the constituent, which is the local government, which is the nearest organ of government to the masses.
Well, you feel he's left that out?
He left that out, and it's very critical.
Okay, but I wonder, have you actually seen the copies that are being passed around of it? Because
I just read the summary.
Okay. Because you know,
because if he mentioned state power and federal power, without
he would have failed to mention local government.
I believe so, because a lot of development, even under the First Republic, were carried out by the local council. For instance, I know an in-law of mine was mayor of Port Harcourt then. He did a lot there. So, not the governor. This
is different and is seeking to affect the status quo, what we have now. Because you yourself are a politician, maybe I should ask, what is your take on the calls for, now let's use the word restructuring, that nobody sort of has agreement on what exactly it is, even as this is an attempt to say, look, leave the word restructuring. Let's take it from a different perspective. That's Agbakoba. But you, as a politician, what do you think about the ongoing conversation, shall we say?
Yes, because in the first place, I have not seen much of the bills.
But I was wondering about...
Yes, and I don't know what it seeks to achieve. Does it seek to achieve good governance? Does it seek to end the agitation that has been, bedeviling Nigeria? First of all, I want to know what the bill seeks to achieve. Because I think at the moment, what we really need now...
The caption of his letter to the Senate President is a simple way to restructure Nigeria by devolving powers. That's the caption, Agbakoba, of the title of Agbakoba's letter to the Senate President.
Because, and I know, again, if the bill will be given assent by the National Assembly, it has to go through a process. The lawyers say you can...
Two-thirds of the state legislature must support it.
And I don't think it can take a very short period of time. It might take a long period of time.
From that bill.
But sir, I wanted to know what you feel.
Okay, as a politician.
Yes, what your perspective is on... because, for instance, we've had guests in who have said, leave the matter the way it is. Don't mess around with the Constitution on that score. What we should be looking for is good governance. That's someone's perspective. Exactly. So I wanted to know what your perspective is.
As a politician, I think we think, that's why I asked that question, what are the basics? Does it seek for good governance? If yes, then I think what can give us good governance at the moment is restructuring. Let's go back to that regional system, like you said at that time, where we have the northern region, the west and the eastern region, where we saw that there was growth in, and the agitation were not as it was today.
Another observation.
One moment, sir, I beg your pardon. Hold the thought. I'll come right back to you, because Garba in Makurdi has called in. Good morning, Garba.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in, sir.
Your guest over there.
Indeed.
See, Uncle Yori, I agree with your guest with their submission, but my worry is that there are some Nigeria with sense of honesty, they mean this restructuring. There is some that they believe this restructuring is just kind of devolution of a restructuring of resources. let every state hold on to their resources. But in my own opinion, anything that will bring peace and progress to this nation, we should go with it. Let's be honest. But some Nigerians, they are not honest in the restructuring or devolution of power. It's just mischief makers. But I'm calling on the federal government to think anything that will bring peace and progress to the nation, we should go with it.
Okay.
Whether it's the restructuring or devolution of power, let's go with it. Because as it is now, there are some states that are not viable. Let's be honest, let's say the truth to ourselves. There are some states that cannot stand on their feet. You understand? But if to say now, they said that they will kind of make justice with other states, they will not agree. I'm of opinion that anything that will know that will give us peace and progress, let's go with it.
All right, then. Thank you very much for calling in, Garba. Well, this is the whole essence of, shall we call it participatory democracy? Yes. Any Nigerian, every Nigerian actually can do, if you know enough, what Agbakoba has done.
Yes. It's
so
his own contribution.
That is his own contribution. That, I've looked at the country, I've looked at our society, as he says, he says here, just reading a little bit from it, he says Nigeria has long been engaged in the federalism question, and it is clear, according to Agbakoba, it is clear that because of our diverse nature and large size, the political system best suited for Nigeria is a federal system. But the challenge, according to Agbakoba, has always been what type of federalism. And so he submitted that this bill that he is introducing, which is essentially about a devolution of powers, could largely address most of the questions. A call coming in from DOPEMU. Good morning.
Yeah, Chief, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I have opportunity to call for the first time after the incident. I give thanks to God Almighty Allah.
Indeed. Thank you very, very much.
God Almighty continue to protect all of us. I've been saying that, Chief, I think I totally agree with Mr. Olisa Agbakoba. Let me give you a typical example here, Chief. If you travel from Lagos to Abeokuta now, the road was so bad. Not only that road, if you go to Badagry side, also the same thing. But what really happened is this: you dare not call your state governor that telling him that your road is bad, express is bad. They will tell you that it's a federal government road. And I ask that, who is the really federal government that is passing through those roads? Are we not the same people living in the same state? And then they will be telling you that it is federal government road. So, for me, I think devolution of power, it is the answer to those things. Because if you say that this is a federal government road, are you telling me Mr. President is not passing through those roads? People living in Abeokuta, people living in Lagos State, and then people working in Lagos State and living in Abeokuta, they were the people passing the same road. And then the governor will tell you that he cannot do that road because it is a federal government road. Who are we kidding? So basically, there should be devolution of power. Last time, they said local government autonomy. When it got to the National Assembly, first time, they first voted it down initially. And then I think maybe Mr. President already signed to that law now, that local government autonomy is now come and stay. Now, I can comfortably call my local government chairman. If truly they send the money direct from Abuja to his pocket, if you don't do any street in my area here in DOPEMU, I can tell you comfortably, a lot of work is going on in streets here in DOPEMU today, because the local government autonomy, I think it has come to stay so that we can be able to hold the local government chairman accountable. Because you collected money direct from the federal government. How dare you not produce dividends of democracy for us? Who is the federal government passing through road? The Lagos Abeokuta road, it was so bad. Good man, and thank God. God bless you.
Thank you very much for calling in.
I think let me just say something, because I passed that road about 4 days ago. From the place they call Amj down to near the bridge in Otta is impassable. Even Trust Commodimo passed it. And I asked the question, which federal official is coming here to see what is going on here? And if you ask the governor of Ogun State, he will tell you it's a federal rule. So I feel, okay, if we talk about devolution of power, then the concurrent as well as the explicit must do what? Change.
And Olisa Agbakoba refers to his effort as a simple solution. That is not rocket science. Maybe this brings us to the whole question again of political will
the
to
political will.
The right
I think we need to place the Agbakoba's
bill
side by side with El Rufai's committee's report.
El Rufai?
Yes. John Odigi Oyegun set up a committee on restructuring.
He's all for.
No, he made recommendations that oil producing states should control the oil well within certain area in their location, which BDP said, well, is a good starting point.
But it's not in the Constitution.
No, it's a constitutional proposal. Okay. That shows that even the North is not opposed to such. They made because if we talk about the devolution of power, it means giving more responsibility. Giving more responsibility entails more funding. How do you give somebody responsibility? You say, okay, my son, I want you to marry, graduate without work. I will give you a wife. Who will feed the wife? That is why we have to place it side by side.
Thank you for holding on, sir. Bashir in Ikotun, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Please go ahead now.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Yodi and the audience, the panelists.
Good morning.
My main concern is very simple. When we are discussing certain issues, I think there should be what we call SWOT analysis. What are the strengths, weak points, opportunity, and threats to this thing that we are discussing about? The main topic. If we are able to educate ourselves on the SWOT analysis, then we'll appreciate our better.
Okay.
And one thing I realized too is that we hardly even appreciate ourselves. Nobody has the wisdom that I know is better than other people. Where your own idea and everything seems to be more or to stop. That's where other people's idea and opinion thoroughly started and should be recognized. Doing this thing as an individual, I don't think it's right. Agbakoba should look for like minds among his generation, another generation, and let them come together on the way forward. Everybody has been looking at this issue as selfishness, but there are more merits in it than the selfish aspect of it.
Okay.
That's humble contribution. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for calling in, Bashir. Did you want to comment on that?
I think he has a point in that.
Because I also made the point that, look, what Mr. Agbakoba has done, any Nigerian can do.
Have the right to do it also.
Yes, have the right to do it if they know enough. Of course, if you're going to be if you're going to be addressing the country, and that's what you're doing, if a law is in there, everybody, But the point that Mr. Bashir was making in there, I wonder if the conferences that we have had have not attempted to do precisely what he is talking about, and how far has that got us?
Yes, the issue is that the conferences had a lot of hiccups because there's a mutual distrust and mistrust between the southern part and the northern part. But I believe with the report of El Rufai committee, it clearly shows that the North are not really against restructuring or putting more money in the hand of the state, because the state is closer to the people. Like the other man said, how many times has President passed through Lagos Badagry, which is a federal road, which Fashola actually started but stopped by the immediate past administration. The Ota road we are mentioning had somebody that was in Asoro for 8 years. That is not the beginning. I have also traveled on the other road to Idiroko that leads to the best university and the other private university over there. It's horrible. So the issue is, if we are saying, okay, those roads will be taken over by the state, is it on the current revenue allocation? We have to look at it.
Joshua calling in from Ikeja. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Okay, please go ahead now.
Okay. Actually, I will agree with Mr. Agbakoba on what he's saying about the devolution of powers. You know, over time, we've lived with this system of government that people decide not to be accountable for anything because they keep giving excuses. We are not in charge. The federal government is the one doing it. We are not in charge. We don't know anything about it. And they keep giving excuses on what to do. So I think if they should start in this devolution of powers from the federal government, at least the masses down here, they will be able to hold somebody responsible that you are meant to do this. You get this funds direct from federal government. So you can't be giving us excuse that I'm not the one that's supposed to do this. The federal government that's supposed to do this. So in that case, we'll be able to hold you responsible for something. And anytime you fail to do such, you know that, hey, it's you. This is not the federal government anymore.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling in. Going back to, Agbakoba in his letter, reminding or observing that the Constitution has two legislative lists, the exclusive and what was the other one? And concurrent.
Concurrent.
Now,
As well
presently, it has 3.
Yeah, the
Residual list, which is meant for local government.
Not that, of course, yes. But he's now proposing that maybe you can adjust this so that we have, an exclusive list. Let that be for the federal government. But now have what is a state list, and it can be agreed which ones, which we spoke about earlier, we can be a lot more efficient.
Okay, so I wouldn't mind if I can take us a little bit back.
Sure.
And we said the North is not opposed to restructuring. I don't know how true that is.
No, I mean, I'm talking about the report of El-Rufai,
whether
we like it or not.
Which is an APC setup.
APC setup,
yes.
And APC, and presently is the governor
of
the
KADUNA's
capital of the North.
North.
But there may be some people
who are opposed to...
but he was able to submit that report, which really favor especially the oil-producing area that, well, these people, instead of getting stipend alone from the federal, let them control the oil well near the land. Why the federal government control the one in the deep sea? Which is reasonable. What are we...
Okay. You see, I think the devolution bill that Agbakoba is seeking to, pursue, I see it as a kind of, removing so much powers from the federal and giving it to the other subset of the states and the local government. So that each of these will have their own both exclusive and concurrent list, making it in such a way that they have enough resources for each of these arms of government, both executive as well as the legislative, including the judiciary,
we may not conclude that enough resources now. He's talking about devolution of power.
Exactly.
Not what I'm saying.
I'm going to come to it, but okay. I have EMEKA on the line now. I believe EMEKA is in Canada. Good morning, sir.
Kaduna.
Oh, Kaduna. I beg you. Not Kaduna. Canada.
Yes.
It's in Kaduna. Kaduna. No wonder you didn't speak up. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Mr. EMEKA.
Good morning, sir.
Please go ahead.
Yes. Thanks so much.
Carry on, please. Carry on, please.
Yeah, the discussion is okay.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
That this issue of restructuring has become an endless discussion.
Well.
From our independence now.
Okay. So we're looking at Olisa Agbakoba's bill that seeks to alter the Constitution to address the issue.
It has been an endless. Yes. We can alter it. Constitution is for human beings, and not human beings for constitution. Whatever that we are doing that is not work, we change it. It's a continuous thing. Why not we try? Yes. For constitution. If that is the case, since we are talking that this is lopsided, we try other way
We had 2014 conference, which was acclaimed okay, though there was some dissenting opinion. You can toss it up, see where it is wrong, and work on it. But this idea, each time the North, the South divide, they are not the Northerners, they are not the Southerners, they are the elite. Like I tell you today, Nigeria is not made up of 36 states. Nigeria is made up of 2 states, the state of the rich and the state of the poor. We have 2 states in Nigeria, the state of the rich and the state of the poor. What is happening at the elite? Decided to lord it over the poor. And they are doing it through this means. You can't believe what you see in the North, the level of poverty. And these are people saying that no to this restructuring. Not every elite in the North is against it. Some of them are against it simply because of what they get from it. They need power for raw power. They are accumulative accumulators. And as far as I'm concerned, it's all working. Whether Agbakoba or Erufai or Continental Conference, I say one thing. One thing everybody should say is that how do we live in happiness?
Okay.
How do we live in happiness?
Okay. Thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate your call, because really, at the end of the day, I suppose that's what good governance is all about, where every citizen shall, be assured enough to live in peace, and health and availability to work and all of that. In short, an equitable, a just society at the end of the day. So whether people, no wonder Mr. Agbakoba said that it's been called many things, including restructuring. Some people are saying, look, give me good governance and please take all the rest, because as EMEKA was pointing out, when you look at it, it doesn't matter where you come from in this country. There's a poor man and there's a privileged man.
Yes.
And that poor man, quite frankly, he's a Nigerian too.
He's a Nigerian.
And we have to begin
whether
to do
it's
things.
A northerner or southerner,
whether he's a northerner, southern, middle belter, a poor man is a poor man, and poverty no good for body anywhere. Stay with us, please. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. And we're continuing our conversation on restructuring in Nigeria, as it is popularly known. Although when I say those words, popularly known, well, it's popularly misunderstood or not understood, because oftentimes you hear the commentary that what exactly is restructuring? You put a dozen people on the ground and they'll have a dozen different perspectives on what exactly restructuring is. And the occasion of bringing this conversation back up is Olisa Agbakoba, SAN, a civil rights activist and lawyer. He's written a letter, the caption of which is "A Simple Way to Restructure Nigeria by Devolving Powers." And he's proposing the amendment of the Constitution. He says that in the explanatory note that he accompanied the bill with, he says this bill seeks to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 by creation of the States Court of Appeal, introduction of federal and state legislative lists, and adjustment or modification of legislative powers of government between the federal and the state governments, and recognition of 6 geopolitical zones. All of that is, sort of embedded in this. But as people have pointed out, one observation from a caller has been that, many hands make light work, or perhaps many heads are better than one. And whereas the sponsor of this particular effort is Mr. Olisa Agbakoba, which I said every Nigerian can do. Somebody has suggested that, why don't we come together? But then I say, we've attempted this. We've attempted to come together, all sorts of conferences, look where it's got us. And so Mr. Agbakoba got on with it and said, look, in the meantime, this is my take on this whole matter. And as Dr. Kume was pointing out earlier, a bill goes to the National Assembly. Oh, they're going to look at it line by line, and check it out and know what can be done, and then it'll be probably. In fact, everybody can now go, but everybody, because there's the public, what is that thing they do? Is it the public reading or the public sittings where everybody can contribute? But at least this is an effort here, and let's see what Mazi OKOROAFOR has to say on the matter, weighing in from AROCHUKWU. Good morning, sir. Mazi.
Good morning, sir. You're in the studio.
Okay, Ujari, you're welcome.
There is need for restructuring, Mr. Yoni.
But wait, sir. We're looking at Olisa Agbakoba's bill, and the word restructuring there, he said what he's seeking to address has been referred to by many, including restructuring. But he said his own is devolution of powers.
Let's talk about devolution of powers.
Okay, sir.
Let me give you an example.
Sure.
You see, federalism we are talking is not workable here now. Now you have to say, let me give you an example. You see, we have America. We have the president. We have other over 50-something states. They have an independent governor. They operate on their own, independently. But here in Nigeria, a governor will come, he will need money, he will run to headquarters. A governor will come, you want to take action in terms of employment, maybe security, you run to capital, which is not healthy. Is it a federalism? Now, you come back now. You talk about, in terms of that distribution of other facilities. For example, unity schools. Unity schools, they have what they say disadvantage. Now, the power, is it going that way? It's not balancing. Some states, you give them 40, maybe 40, when you score 40%, you get. But other places, you tell them, unless you have 120 or 100, is that the variation? That is the issue. Because everything depends on the headquarters. All the directives, everything comes down. What with the admission, anything, it's not healthy. Because if we have to do that distribution of power, follow it constitutionally. They have to do what our constitution, which the military designed for us and handed over to us and let us after 30-something years of military ship. It's not heard because I was expecting National Assembly by now that they must have put that constitution into because Ekuremadi and Sanaki Regina, they started it, everything hanged. That them is present to do what? Let the constitution be functional. Look at the INEC. You saw what INEC did, and because of the INEC situation, what they said they are going to start electronic thing at Anambra State. Now, all the facilities and all those is available. Everything buys that inside that constitution. Because if the National Assembly will pass that electoral bill law, at least they will do what? Pass it immediately. So all this issue of that now INEC is coming out. Now, if INEC is to start, is it in the old constitution? Is it not the new constitution? Is the new constitution has it been passed? Somebody can go to the court after the election and challenge that election because all this were not constitutional done. So Nigeria have a lot. And what pains me a lot is that we have a lot of professors in law, constitutional listeners, but we come back now, we are still doing as if we are a baby. We have talented men and women who are learned, who know exactly what to do. Can't the government give them that and just let them do that job? Because all these shops sitting down. But Mazi, distribution, let it go so that people that know the job, let them come back with the, even the National Assembly, let them say the first people that consultants, let them do the constitution, the constitution will be fixed. Between now and December, let us have a sound constitution. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day, Lagos. God bless you.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mazi. Because what I wanted to try and get in there is that, wait a minute, do you see merit to the proposals being put forward for this particular amendment? This adjustment of the Constitution, but it seems to me that he was saying this is not new ground, that we've been here before. Yes. We've been here before and we haven't been able to make progress on it. I don't know if that indeed is what he was saying. But it's, as I said, I thought, but if, for whatever it's worth, if you ask me, I read through the bill and the proposals. It's pretty comprehensive. But you've also made the point about viability. Somebody else also made the point about viability
from home. As now cannot pay the 30,000 minimum wage. You now expect them to set up court of appeal when the whole state has only maybe 10, maximum of 10 state high courts. What will they do with court of appeal or state supreme court?
Okay, a caller has come in. Good morning.
Good morning, Yori. It's Reverend Dominic.
Good morning, Reverend. Great to have you.
Yori, I'm glad to see you. I was scared last time when there was an attack on TVC.
Thank you very much.
And I want to frustrate with TVC that God will help them to rebuild that wonderful studio.
Thank you very much.
God will strengthen you in the name of Jesus.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend.
Yori, back to the topic today. Olisa Agbakoba has added his own confusion to what we call restructuring. Because I have said it several times over. If you ask a man in the north the type of restructuring he wants, he has his own color of restructuring. If you ask a man from Niger Delta, the restructure, he wants his own oil to be mined by him and sell to Nigeria or pay tax to Nigeria. From the southeast, the people in the southeast, the loud voices here in southeast, not we Igbos, are talking of IPOB. If you come to Oduduwa Republic, they want Oduduwa Republic. What we need is not this confusion. What we need is a good governance. If you tear Nigeria into 20 pieces, who is going to govern them? These people I saw on the traffic 2 days ago. Since few days there's no police on the road. Have you seen the attitude of Nigerians?
Yeah.
That everybody is driving as if that something is pursuing you. No law, no order. What we need to restructure is the mind of Nigerians. In our constitution, where is it on earth in our constitution that the constitution allows somebody to go into office and amass wealth and go home and revive? Why is it in our constitution that the constitution said that a police officer will beat the police, will beat the judge, will beat the executor at the same time? Why is it in our constitution that somebody that has a state will leave his own state and go to AROCHUKWU to ask for money? Yori, if you go to the state where I lived before I come to Lagos, as a state, where is it in constitution the governor cannot clean dustbin, cannot have a clean state? And the governor is sitting down, his state is turning to a month of dustbin. Where is the constitution? The problem is not the constitution. The problem is in our character. If we get our character right, Nigeria will work well. If we develop this nation or devolution of power, that's going to give it to the hands of people who is looting, who is destroying, who is doing everything. And if you want to talk to me.
Reverend, thank you very much for calling in. Here we are, we're talking, as these matters relate to us socially, but the Reverend brought in another aspect to the whole thing at the end of the day. It's almost like the Reverend is saying that it doesn't matter what system we come up with. It doesn't matter how much we amend the Constitution. Until we, the constituent parts of this nation, have a moral kind of a revolution, perhaps, that I think I'm paraphrasing the Reverend. He seems to think that we're just going to be marching on one spot. I said it earlier on when we brought about this Agbakoba's bill. I said, what does this seek? Does this seek good governance? Because what we need in Nigeria is good governance. Because you keep on putting it like that. Then one can say
there's no way you can build a good governance without a bad structure. We have a bad and defective structure for now. That is the problem.
Now, let me come in, sir. You asked a question. The Nigerian federal system of federalism
the Nigerian type of federalism it's a problem.
But it's patterned after the American federal system.
American constitution is less than 12 pages. Ours is about 250. Yes, we are not yet.
Because all this patterning, our democracy is patterned after the American.
Although affairs of government. You ask me, say you're a politician. Yes, I'm a politician. Those who are in governance at the moment, the politicians, they are not interested in good governance. They're just there for their own personal interests. And no matter what bill you bring, they will want the bill to have see the light of the day because they have their own interest. In their own interest. So what we should be talking about now, what the bill seeks to give us now is good governance.
Well,
and I think that is what Agbakoba
we need to add our voice to this Agbakoba's proposal. We should not just leave him alone to fight it, because before you know it, it will become part of history. Agbakoba is in his 60s. He started the struggle with CLO and the rest, demonstrating. You don't expect him to continue till he's 70.
Okay. Another caller on the line. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Oyebode. Good morning,
sir.
Yeah,
my contribution is that Nigeria, we need restructuring. You see, the present system we are operating now is that of is similar to a cone. You know, a cone has big head and small foot, and cone cannot stand. It is something like a pyramid that we need.
But the problem, of course, as you know, sir, is that somebody is going to say, so what exactly do you mean by restructuring?
Restructuring. What I mean is that just like the one that was done before, independence, whereby all the region, each region manages all what they are producing in their area. Let them pay tax to the federal government. Okay. Because a situation whereby, because every region will understand what is happening in their environment. All right. A situation whereby the water, now they are carrying a bill to the National Assembly, whereby federal government wants to control all the river bank. That is uncalled for. River bank where local people are doing vegetable farming and what have you, and federal government will want to oversee that. Okay. The government wants to oversee the street road. They want to oversee everything. That cannot work. Too much money is being shared by the federal government. Let them.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Oyebode, for calling in. Well, we wanted to add our 2 cents to it. No doubt, it's going to be, perhaps in a lawyer's forum, in a political forum. Is going to be dealt with much more in much more depth. But as it came out and was stated yesterday, the sponsorship of the bill by Alice Olisa Agbakoba SAN, seeking to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, to create state courts of appeal, among other things. Okay, we'll sort of close the shutters on this particular topic for now. Take a quick break. We'll come back. And the other thing that's very, very much present is the U.S. Presidential election. So we'll come back and we'll talk about that. Okay, maybe I should rephrase that. Most Nigerians, like to keep an eye on what's going on in some places where we have historical links with the U.S., the U.K., especially. We throw in Germany. We'll also be interested, but between the UK and the US, we definitely have historical ties. And so it's been called, a unique election. The tension is very, very high. CNN and other stations have been referring to it as a nail-biting kind of election, such is the level of anxiety. We hear that former Vice President Biden, he's actually nearing the Electoral College majority of 270 votes. Last time I checked before coming on air, it was somewhere around 264. So he must have neared, that figure some more. Trump is still some way behind. They are insisting on counting and recounting, and so this is dragging it on, so much so that commentators are saying that we don't even know when we're going to actually be able to be clear and say we have a president in the U.S. Such is the level of almost like acrimony. We've heard everything in this particular election, including stomach infrastructure. Let people not be calling Nigeria when they are talking about stomach infrastructure.
We've seen Togri.
We've seen Togri, and according to President Trump, we've seen attempts to manipulate the vote.
Instead to steal the vote.
So people should just leave Nigeria alone. And
some ballot boxes were set on fire during the pre-election days.
So what does anybody want to come and tell me?
So
before we go deep into the American current election, I want to bring a good news to us Nigerians. Okay. Because 2 people of Nigerian descent have actually won a legislative position in America, in the House of Representatives, a Nigerian man and a Nigerian lady although American citizen.
Yes.
So I think it's a good ovation for Nigeria.
It is, you see, but...
I wish it rubs off on
It is. I don't have the names of those individuals, but there's a...
to come as expatriates to help us.
But you see, there's no shortage of Nigerians being recognized abroad. The other day in Canada...
We have a minister in Canada.
Thank you very much.
In the UK,
we have them. But the problem is here. So some people have said the
Nigerian
problem is us.
For international assignment, they
do. They are
no problem.
But come here.
So why is it so? That's my question.
Well, you are a man of God. You can tell us.
Well, you know, you're both a man of God and a politician, so you're likely to hit the answer before us. But this election has been, well, President Trump is a unique persona. He's a unique person. And nobody. The way to put it is that in the U.S., nobody feels confident being able to call it. That is how close it is. Yeah. Of course, Biden is leading, I understand, by the popular vote, but America has this electoral college system that we won't go into now. Exactly. But when the American people vote, they actually are voting for, you know, what they call, I think, electors in each state where it's been predetermined and they've been awarded and all of that. So it's looking, at least I'm not one of the posters, so I'm going to say that my read of all of this is that Biden seems to be progressing apace towards the objective. But President Trump has said, maybe we can grab hold of that for our own purposes here. President Trump has said that any result that goes contrary to the way I've figured it out, there will be...
I've been saying that for months.
He's not going to agree. And yesterday I saw that the Biden team has said that, no problem, we have a legal team. And that's whereas I'm paraphrasing Biden, I was hearing him say yesterday that, whereas I'm not here to tell you who has won this election, but I can tell you that we feel very good. We feel very good about the way things are going now. If Trump were to not be re-elected, it will be the first since, I think it was George Bush Sr. In U.S. Usually presidents get, you know, they get 2 terms.
It has happened only 3.
Yes. But
this will be the 4th time
if indeed he fails. Yeah. But I've heard that, surprisingly, not many people put coronavirus and public health at the very, very top. Instead, they put employment and the economy as the things of main concern. Yes, the other, the health crisis, but the way the president has handled the health crisis, that many people around the world are angry about.
We're worried.
Well,
he brought a radiologist as expert on infectious disease.
It didn't seem to affect the electorate in America in the same way. They seem to be more concerned, according to the experts.
I think the issue is he had an alliance with the evangelicals. And, you know, during the lockdown, I watch, I'm a Christian, Pentecostal Christian. I watch these cable Christian channels, and I was pissed off. I don't watch them again. You discover some churches preach racism. When the pastor is white, you see that every member of the congregation is white. You can hardly see you can count the white in a TDJ church. Because they just feel that once you are black or Hispanic, those are the people they refer to as his base. Because they feel that they should not encourage LGBT. Even the popes accommodate these people.
Talking of which, LGBT, only in America, I think they got their first legislator, the LGBT community actually got their first legislator in this election. Those ones have been sorted out, but that was just an aside.
Yes, that the issue is, these people, the Bible we carry did not say we should kill these people. There's a way to handle them. Even Pope has said it, that the way to handle them is not to reject them or make them an outcast, show them love. But these extremists backing this man, as a transgender and they should be removed from the military, and they've started removing them from the military, stopping their medical. I don't support it in any way, but They are still human beings. They are voters.
Are you surprised, Dr. Okome, that given the incendiary language Trump freely uses, that this race is as close as this for people not to be able to call it? Because you would have thought that there's a sense in which morality is, quite frankly, a universal thing. You know, that it doesn't matter whether you're a Christian or you're not a Christian. Thou shalt not kill resonates with everybody. You know, so when Trump says the incendiary things that he does say, and he has been saying, he's called us, he's referred to us in a most unflattering way. Yes. He doesn't care. He wiped away the Mexicans. We will build a wall, but this is very, very close. It's very, very, very close. Are you surprised about that?
No.
You're not?
I'm surprised about the outcome of the election.
Let me come back to you, sir, because Joshua just called in on the phone in Erewale. Good morning, Mr. Joshua.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. So take the question yourself. Considering how incendiary he can be, are you surprised the race is this close?
No, I'm not surprised. I've always been for, let me say Biden, whatever. I've always been for him. I have issues with Trump, but that's my own personal problem. Uncle Yori, please, you talk more about democracy using this American election as a case study. We need to do that. Let Africa know that no savior is coming to help Africa from America. Africa, they have their own personal problems. They have their own internal issues. They are a democracy and a nation like any other nation. But the issue here is, Uncle Yori, please interrogate this matter. Trump has declared himself winner when counting is still going on. Now, this is the same democracy that they are enforcing on us. If it is an African president or incumbent president that has done this, you would have heard international community come and help us. International community, come. We will be shouting. We don't solve our problems ourselves. Trump has declared himself winner, right? But they are celebrating him. Is that democracy?
and that's an illegal act. It's illegal for him to declare himself.
It's very illegal, but everybody tends to accommodate it, especially Africans. Once they like you, no matter what you do, it is okay. But this is now democracy. We are now seeing everything.
Okay.
America is not perfect. Let us stop shouting. International community, come and help us.
No.
We need to solve our own problems ourselves. Or we already,
okay, sir.
We are going to move forward.
Thank you for calling in. I agree with you. The whole matter about America, well, the thing is, because the former, most of the presidents we've known, going back to memory for maybe most of us, going back to John Kennedy, there's been a certain awe of the office, a certain reverence for the office. So maybe some of these things, they know how to cover it up with the wallpaper.
Exactly, demystified.
Yes, the wallpaper of being genteel, being politically correct. But Mr. Trump came along and you can see him, and he had a totally different approach to governance. And the point is, surprisingly, for a lot of people, he is much loved for the politically incorrect things, if I can stick my neck out and say as much, that he's been saying that would have put somebody else in trouble. He's getting admirers, and here we are, the election is as close as it is.
President paid the $750 tax.
Let me come in. Lawyer, we say, I'm not surprised about the outcome of this election.
That is the closeness. It hasn't. We don't have an outcome yet.
No, it's as good as
declared.
Yes, because like you said, one, when it comes to the electoral votes, Biden is leading. When it comes to the electoral college, the popular vote, he is leading.
Yes.
The electoral
but you
college, he is also leading.
Such is the nature of it that
if you get to a certain level, it will be difficult.
Because even Biden doesn't have the 270 yet.
But it's close. It's close. It's close.
It's close.
And Trump is far behind.
No, not far. A bit further behind.
But it's not, even if he wins the remaining, he may not.
He may not be able to get the 270 as required out of the 258 electors. Now, the point is this.
You know, there's also the possibility that neither of them might get the 270. There's also that possibility.
How many of the states
It's not possible.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going
to happen.
Okay. Okay. Now, I just wanted to cover all the bases.
I wish it also happened anyway.
I just wanted to cover all the bases.
Yes, but you see, the fact was that
because I heard that when the things scatter finish and nobody has 270, then the House of Reps will vote.
Of course. You know. Yes, that is their constitutional structure. But the issue is this. One of the factors that went against Trump, number one, the international media, they were fighting Donald Trump for a long time. Number two, the COVID-19 situation, the way Trump administration handled the COVID-19.
Yes.
You see, it was an eyesore. And then again, we come to the foreign policy, his foreign policies, racism, and all that. You see, for example, the Latinos, and as well as Africa. Don't forget, I told my wife, was it last year, when he separated the children from they were waiting for him on election day.
Okay. Okay.
And then the COVID-19 came in, he began to deny the existence of COVID-19 and the way he handled it, and a lot of Americans died. So, you see, people were angry with him. And again...
So you think all of this contributed to the state we have here?
Yes.
Let me quickly bring in Aliu, who has been holding on, and I want to thank you for that, Mr. Aliu in Nasarawa. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Go ahead, please.
I heard what you are discussing about the American election.
Would you like to contribute?
Actually, hello?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Actually, there is a lot of problems I experienced in the American elections.
Okay.
Most especially in the issues of the coronavirus rules and regulations. That they are always agitating that the people should rather should distance themselves from themselves. That's at least 2 meters.
Okay, I wonder where he was going to land. He was putting on the protocol, the protocols for COVID-19. I don't know
which Trump was not complying with, you see. And he wasn't even wearing face masks in some of his electoral campaigns.
And a lot of people love that.
Because, there are conspiracy theorists who say that, who identify with Trump, that this COVID-19, I mean, thank God, in Nigeria here, I understand that we've just gazetted, if it is not fake news, we've just gazetted, the matter now. And if you don't use your face mark in a public place, you can actually, go to jail and be fined, either or. Yeah. So we are taking it very, very seriously. But in America, where, everything is fundamental human right, I think they're pursuing their right.
For that number of people to die in America, Nigerians should be grateful to God.
Really?
Because we don't have the medical facility and expertise that they have there. And you see a lot of people don't even care about wearing masks here.
Okay, Agu in Port Harcourt. Good morning, Agu.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I want to say that what is happening in America now is a lesson to every one of us, especially we Nigerians. Yes, I want to say that what is happening to us is a lesson to every Nigerian.
Carry on, please. Carry on. Go ahead.
We always call America. We always talk of America. But I want to say that pride comes before a fall. And it is better that the fowl has seen, it is better the fowl has seen the dead body of a dog. If the dog has seen the fowl's dead body, they would have said it's the dog that killed it. So, COVID-19, as you know, flawed everyone, every technocrat, every professional, every developed, undeveloped, super developed countries. Today, Trump didn't learn a lesson. That if COVID-19 can flaw him, election can also flaw him. That's the question that's out of the. So in Nigeria, we should lift it and make our Nigerian democracy.
Yeah.
We can grow. Just so we pattern, so America can copy from us.
Yes.
It's happening in America. This happens here, and they were called everywhere. Please come and arrest this person. Come and do this. Nigerians don't know. Trump said we don't know anything.
All right then. Thank you very much, Mr. Agu. I really appreciate your calling in. And also thank you for that proverb that you dropped in there. I mean, when an Igbo man speaks,
yeah,
he will drop it. He said he wants to thank God that the fowl has seen the dead body of the dog. If it had been the other way around, they would say it is this. Okay, that's our program. I'm sorry we don't have time for much more, but I want to thank you both gentlemen. Dr. John Kome, politician and social commentator. Thank you very much, sir, for coming on. And Mr. David Ajetunbi, legal practitioner, former MBA Ikeja branch here. Thank you very much for sharing your perspectives with us.
Thank God for you guys coming back.
Thank you very much. Okay, so that's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. And as always, be safe. COVID-19 is still out there. Wear your masks. They say it's now illegal not to wear it. I'm not too sure. I don't know whether that was fake news or not, but they say it's illegal not to wear a mask in public places. That's the rumor that's going on. Maybe it's more than a rumor. I'll see you tomorrow, God willing. Bye-bye for now.